My mouth is all tingly. Hey guys, Jeremy Jacobowitz here from Brunch Boys. I'm here with Celeste Rogers, a chopped champion, and now she teaches people how to cook in person and online.
Correct.
And today she's going to teach me how to make the perfect chocolate chip cookie. So we have a dough right here. How did we get to this step?
We got to this by making it a brown butter chocolate chip cookie. Step one is browning most, but not all of the butter. We need a little bit of the butter not browned because in the process of browning, you actually evaporate off all the water, and we need some water for chew. So mostly brown butter, which is going to introduce some nutty, toffee, kind of browned flavors, hence the name brown. Wow, that was dumb. And then also we're going to have a mix of both brown and white sugar. Why do we care? Why can't you just buy one, right? Well, brown sugar is hygroscopic, which is this very fancy way of saying it holds on to moisture.
Okay.
So you get a nice chewy cookie. And white sugar is really going to leave you with something that's more crispy, crunchy, and potentially hard. So we want some elements of the crisp, but we don't want it hard, and we definitely want it to be chewy. And then similarly with eggs, we're gonna use a combination of whole egg as well as just an egg yolk. If you use too much egg white, you're gonna get a more cakey, a little bit drier cookie. And if you use only yolks, you might end up with something that is so chewy, it's almost like a brownie and dense.
Right.
So we want that in between. And then obviously we gotta have flour, a little bit of salt, baking soda, and vanilla, which is basically human catnip. And then last but not least, see how these are big chunks of jarred chocolate? I just really don't have any room in my cookie for those small, wussy little milk chocolate Toll House pieces. That said, if you can invest and get up to as high as 80%, but I think it's important to go at least 60% cacao, and larger the disc, the better.
Does it melt any differently?
It doesn't melt differently, but it keeps it kind of compartmentalized. So then you get this exciting variance in your texture of your cookie. This is gonna give you a variety of experiences with different bites, and it's gonna keep you coming back for more.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna portion these because it's better if they are baked from, believe it or not, frozen.
Okay.
There's a variety of reasons to do this. One that's the most obvious is you get the best texture. The other is, hey, you can store them in the freezer, and whenever you want and have the chocolate craving or urge, you can bake off just 1 or 5, whatever you want. So when you use a portion scoop, some people do this and they mound it all up. No, not the goal. You want to bring it flush against the side of the bowl, because otherwise you could change it. One cookie could be mounded higher than the other. If you make it flat, then every cookie will be exactly the same every time, which means that they will bake at the same rate, which is so important.
So like how big are these cookies can be? So
they're gonna be
like
large.
This size,
We're looking at like,
they're
gonna be nice big cookies.
So spread out.
If you prefer, we can use a smaller scoop. We have probably enough dough for 2 trays, and we'll bake some off with the larger and some with the smaller. Why not?
Sure,
Let's
we can do that.
Like.
Great.
So what's your favorite chocolate chip cookie memory? I feel like this is like a very...
A memory?
Yeah, it's an emotional subject, chocolate chip cookies.
Well, I feel like you get that way when you ask people where is their favorite chocolate chip, especially in New York City. Where's your favorite from?
I mean, honestly, I think I make the best.
Okay, well, if they're not lucky enough like me to have you make them for you, where can they actually go get them?
I've heard Jack Torres makes a similar, like where there's like crisp and chewy. A lot of my friends love Bakery Levan. That said, that is a completely other cookie. I can tell you how to make that cookie, but that is not this recipe.
Here's the thing about those cookies.
Yes.
I shot a show there one day. So I was in the kitchen all day with them making them.
Wow.
And it was the greatest thing ever to have them literally coming out of the oven and you could taste them eating the dough out of the thing. It was great. What ruined it was at the end of the day, they go, do you want to know how many calories are in one cookie?
No, never, absolutely never.
They told me, and I was like, oh my God. And I started like doing the math because I was just like picking at cookies all day. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll taste this one, whatever. And you know, oh my God. I was like, I probably ate about 5 cookies, and literally I think the equivalent was like one cookie was like a sleeve of Oreos or something, which
Okay.
already is like almost your daily caloric intake.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was like, oh my God, I need to leave.
But what a way to meet your caloric needs. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
cookies.
I mean, it's also good for heart and soul, like all those things. So now that we've portioned these properly, we're ready to give them a freeze. We can definitely bake them from frozen. We don't want to have them this crowded when we go to bake them,
one
obviously.
giant cookie tray.
Yeah, but what I like to do is freeze all of my cookie dough, transfer it to a Ziploc bag, and then whenever I want to bake 1 or 8, I can.
Okay.
So we're gonna transfer this tray just like this to the freezer, and then from there we can decide, are we storing them for later in a Ziploc bag, or are we ready to bake?
I'm gonna say ready to bake.
Sounds good. All right, let's get these in.
Okay, so our cookies sat in the freezer for a little bit.
Yes, we wanted to firm them up. The longer they sit, honestly, the better. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with making cookies 3-4 days before, certainly even making them a month before, because we can store them in the freezer as well.
But there's like a minimum amount of time you wanna hit.
I mean, ideally, you start to get into the best cookie range in about 24 hours plus.
Oh,
So
we didn't do
cheated
that.
the recipe.
All right.
So you're gonna taste like an A- version of what the recipe could be.
What's the difference in taste that you're really gonna say?
One of the things that actually happens, and I'm gonna get super geeky on you,
Yeah.
is that there is water that naturally occurs in some of the butter that we left unbrowned, as well as some of the egg, a lot in the egg white. And water actually dissolves sugar. So table sugar is a dimer. It means it's 2 molecules that are bound together. It is able to break with water, and it then releases free fructose. Fructose is probably something you're familiar with in honey. Honey is a purified fructose. And honey browns at very low temperatures. So by breaking this dimer of table sugar apart into individual sugar molecules, you actually then are able to brown these cookies a little bit better.
Okay.
So you're gonna get a little bit more of that toffee flavor. You're gonna get a nicer, browner bottom and
More like
edges.
a deeper flavor.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit more like a butterscotchy, deeper toffee-like flavor.
Okay.
Now we've already done a good job of getting there by using brown sugar, by using brown butter, and then by adding vanilla. All those things kind of start to register on our taste buds as that toffee-like
Okay.
richness. One of the other benefits is that the water will more evenly hydrate the dough, and you might end up with a better kind of more even texture. If you've ever baked a cookie too soon, you might have noticed that it starts to melt on the edges in the oven very quickly, and those edges start to get lacy and burn.
Yes.
We don't want a lacy edge and then a chewy center. We kind of want this like toffee-like chew to start on the edges.
Okay. All right, so what's the final step before they go in the oven?
The coup de grace really here is going to be a nice crowning glory of flaky, beautiful salt.
Okay.
Now this is no place for your table salt, okay? At the worst, you can use kosher
you wanna
salt.
taste, you wanna taste that.
Yes. At best, you want to choose a nice flaky salt. I'm going to be partial. My favorite brand is Malden salt.
Okay.
So a flaky salt is going to give you these crunchy crystals without oversalting your food. So you can actually bite through them, and it's not like biting through dense rock crystals of salt. Nobody wants that. These are shatteringly crisp flakes of salt. So we're gonna give a little bit to the top of each one, whatever. I'm losing a little bit to the sheet tray, and that is fine.
Okay, into the oven finally. We're almost
Yeah.
ready to eat.
We are.
Okay, and how long are these gonna cook for? These are a little bigger. They're gonna cook
Right.
at different times?
These are gonna cook more like in the realm of 12 minutes. I'm definitely gonna be checking these around 7 just to make sure.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Into the oven. Okay, our cookies are ready. They sat. You made me sit there and stare at them as they cool down because my instinct was they're out of the oven. I've waited long enough. Let me eat.
No,
No.
my friend. So you always want to pull any cookie recipe when it looks still underbaked. What it's going to do is finish carryover cooking on the sheet tray itself, and you get these beautiful crisp bottoms, but you still protect that soft, chewy center. Otherwise, you end up pulling it from the oven too late, and then they're firm enough to be able to get off the cookie sheet, or you end up trying to push them off the cookie tray and mangling them. We're not
okay.
after that.
All right.
So also, I want to make a little point about
Okay.
the difference between these two trays. So we have, on the one hand, a beautifully baked, golden on the edge, but still soft, chewy center cookie. And then we have our smaller cookies, which still got a decent amount of crisping on the bottom, a little bit on the edge, but there just isn't nearly the amount of like brown toffee to the edge.
Yes.
So turns out when it comes to chocolate chip cookies, size really does matter.
Only in chocolate chip cookies.
Certainly. I don't know what else you'd be talking about.
Wait, which one? Okay, I'm gonna try this one.
I was trying to shut myself up.
My mouth is all tingly.
Well, that wasn't the intended effect, but... Okay,
Whoa.
You're getting crispy edges, soft center.
Yes.
You definitely have sweetness, but balanced by bitter chocolate, as well as that nice flaky malt and salt, right?
It's really like a depth of flavors going on rather than sweet.
Right. So again, we talked earlier about when we're trying to come up with the perfect recipe that keeps you coming back for more, we want to avoid flavor and texture fatigue. We don't want something that's just sweet. We also don't want something that's just crispy. So this is hitting you with bitter and salty and sweet. It's hitting you with soft plus crispy. So it's about that dichotomy that we're really after.
That's really good. Okay, I want to try small ones. So in the smaller ones, what's going to be a little different?
The smaller ones won't have the level of browning to them. We still pulled them when they were nice and soft and chewy. I wasn't going to give you a hard baked cookie, but because they're smaller, they can't stay in the oven as long. And then therefore we're sacrificing a little bit of that brown toffee edge that we can get here on the larger baked cookie. So you still have the same center, but you're missing out on some of that crisp edge and that like deeper richness of flavor that you get from browning.
So it depends on what you want. I think like when I'm thinking of my perfect cookie, I kind of want that.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you don't,
yeah.
do what I
If you
want.
don't, choose whatever size you want.
Okay. Those cookies are good.
I'm glad you like it.
The point of the video was to make the best chocolate chip cookies. So I guess it worked out. I just took her for her word. I was like, yeah, sure, we'll do that.
Thank you. So do I get the title of champion here?
Yes, you are the
Not shop champion,
Yeah,
the
so-
chocolate chip champion.
Sure. Well, thank you for my lesson. If people want to get more lessons with you, where can they do that?
So you can certainly follow me on Instagram. I post occasional recipes there at Celestible. And through the link in that profile, you're also going to find the link to my digital cooking series, which is with NBC Universal's Blueprint.
Cool.
Awesome. Coming back for more?